you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. And we'll start off today's trivia night with the praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is worthy of all our praise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us this beautiful month of Ramadan to turn to Him and to worship Him and to reform ourselves during this month. And then we send peace and blessing upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the one that was sent as a messenger and a mercy to mankind. Inshallah, today's trivia night will start off with the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have Sister Samia, which will be reading our hadith, and then we will get started with the Kahoot. So, Sister Samia, please, can you?
Yes. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Ramadan Mubarak. Hope you all are doing well. I know we all are talking about fasting and what we're doing to keep busy and praying, but another important part about Ramadan is about helping out. So I thought a small hadith we can do is, I'll read this to you right now if you guys can follow. Aisha radhiyallahu anha was asked, what did the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do inside his house? She answered, he used to keep himself busy helping members of his family, and when it was the time for salah, the prayer, he would go out for prayer. Alhamdulillah. So as we all know, when it's time for making food or getting everything ready and helping out in the house, that we all should be working as a family, helping each other out. Can you guys all kind of text me ways that you guys help each other out in the house when your parents are making your food for you or helping clean up and getting you ready to pray?
So this hadith is actually a very beautiful hadith because it shows how the Prophet ﷺ was at home, and the hadith tells us that that the Prophet ﷺ, when he was in the masjid, he would pray. When it's time for salah, he would go for salah. But when he was at home, he didn't expect special treatment. So it wasn't like I'm the Prophet of God, everybody serve me. But the Prophet ﷺ, he would go and work inside the house. I know, like, one of our contestants today is Brother Fahad, who, mashallah, is always helping out. Every time I go to his house, he's always helping out, around the house, sometimes cooking, sometimes doing this, that. And, this is from the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, Samia, can you tell us what this hadith means?
So this means that everyone can play a part in making sure the kitchen sink isn't full of dishes from last night's lasagna, and there aren't socks all over the bedroom floor, and there are not toys left in the stairs like traps. Not to mention the dustbins waiting to be emptied while they smell like trolls' feet. Everyone in the house can help keep it nice, but you should always remember to drop what you are doing when it's time for salah and to go pray.
So this hadith tells us that, look, a lot of times what happens when we get busy with work, and if you're like us, and that you can, cleaning the house never ends. I know Joaria, who's another contestant of ours, they, out of the 24 hours, maybe I think 18 hours, they clean the house, brooming, vacuuming. And the funny part is, I'm not exaggerating, right, Joaria? So a lot of time what happens is that we get so busy cleaning the house and doing work around the house that we forget salah. And that's important to keep in mind, that we can work in the house, we can do what we have to do, our chores, but when it comes time to worshiping Allah, that definitely has to, that takes its place, and we have to give that attention. Now, this hadith also tells us that if you're living in the house, then you should have chores, right? It's not that you're living in the house and everybody, it's a mom's job or it's a dad's job or it's the girl's job, right? Everybody should pitch in. Everybody should help out. Help with the dishes, pick up the table, set the table. Right now we're going to have iftar. What's going to happen? The mom's cooking, the mom sets the table, the kids are playing, and then final moment they come rush to the table and feed me, right? But everybody that's in the household, they should do their part, with all the chores in the house. But when it comes time to Allah, worshiping Allah, that definitely takes preference, and we should stop and make sure we give that time too.
So we had some people giving examples of how they can help. And we had Misha saying to do dishes, and Isa saying he can help with dishes as well. I think they're from the same family.
I think that mother doesn't have to worry about the dishes
Your
today.
mother should not be worrying about the dishes. And we have Salsabil saying cleaning the table.
Good, mashallah, mashallah. All right. So you want to finish off? Ask your parents what chores you can do to help them keep your room tidy. Again, when you wake up in the morning, make sure you clean up your room. Leave what you're doing, and make sure you pray on time. Assalamu alaikum. So inshallah, we'll get started with our Kahoot. Sisters, if you want to share the screen, again, I would once again introduce the people that will be playing with us. And again, everybody can play at home like every week. The people that will inshallah be playing, we have Juwaria, who I can never spell her name right, is from Florida. She is joining us. We have Salsabil. Salsabil is here in Frisco. We have brother Fahad Ahmed, who is from Valley Ranch. So on the screen, you have the pin. Go on Kahoot.com and plug in the pin. And then, inshallah, we will get started. So on the second device, make sure you go onto Kahoot and plug in the pin. We got 3 players so far. 4. Okay, here they come in. Juwaria, are you in?
No, I'm getting there.
All right, so I see you're in. Good. So once again, I just want to remind everybody that some of these questions are easy, or very easy. I have to promise Juwaria, don't worry, you're not gonna make a fool of yourself. I'll make sure the questions are easy, so that all 12 of your friends could see that you're doing good in life. But the point is, we'll see how fast you can answer the question. So Kahoot is based upon the speed, how fast you can put those answers in. So even if the questions are easy, make sure you get on there fast, plug in the questions. That way you get more points. Right. I know last week we had a little setback with Kahoot, but inshallah this week we should be good. We'll give it another minute for anybody that needs to log in. So again, if you're watching us on Facebook or you're on the YouTube, on the screen you see the pin 4599348. You go to Kahoot, you click on play, and you plug in this code, and you can join us as we go through the questions. These will be multiple questions. Majority of these questions are from the Seerah, the life of the Prophet ﷺ. Once again, Jazakallah khair to the uncle from the IFS, Chicago IFS bookstore who hooked up these cards. And let's get started, inshallah. The first question: at what age did Prophet ﷺ become a prophet? At what age did Prophet ﷺ become a prophet? "13 answers. This should be a quick one. Julia, what happened when the Prophet ﷺ became a prophet? What was the incident that took place? The correct answer is 40. Again, we apologize. The correct answer is 40. 25 is when he got married. Okay, so 25 is when he got married. 40 is the correct answer, and I apologize about that. I gave the wrong answer to the sister Sahrish who put it together. So when the Prophet ﷺ, the beginning of prophethood is from when Rasulullah ﷺ went to the cave of Hira and the angel Jibreel came down. All right, let's go. Let's move on to our second question. All right, question number 2. Did you get that one wrong? Which turned out to be right.
Wrong answer.
Okay, question number 2. Prophet Dawud ﷺ is famously known for the story of David versus. So Prophet Dawud ﷺ, he's known for his story, David versus.
You're very new on the previous one, which answer you would choose.
She got that wrong on purpose, mashallah.
Wasn't it 40? I did 40.
It was 40, but you chose.
Oh my god.
All right, so the answer to this question is David versus Goliath. And in this story, Dawood versus Jalut, is about how Dawood, even though he was underdog, he was smaller, and Jalut was massive. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave strength to Dawood to kill and to destroy Jalut. Likewise, we see the story of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Muslims at the time of the Battle of Badr, how the Muslims were a little number, but then they end up being victorious. Let's move on to question number 3. Who was the first person to accept Islam during the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? During the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's life. Who was the first person to accept Islam during the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? We have Abu Bakr radhiyallahu, Khadija radhiyallahu, Bilal radhiyallahu, and Umar radhiyallahu. So this person, when they heard the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they immediately jumped and said, I gotta get some of this. They accept Islam with the first person. And the answer is Khadija. Abu Bakr was the first free man, but the first person was his wife. As soon as the Prophet ﷺ preached to her, she immediately accepted it, which shows us the beauty, the status of women in our religion. How Khadija, she got the honor of becoming the first person to accept Islam. Right, how many brothers did Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam have? How many brothers did Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam have? So the Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam story, again, as we know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the whole story in one surah and talks about his unique incident and how he went from one place to another place, and then from the palace to the prison, and then back. And a lot of this was because of his brothers, and he had 11 brothers. How many do you put 11? You don't know? All right, can I have Joria, Salsabil, and Fahabe? Just keep yourselves unmuted.
Okay.
All right.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
Uh-oh.
Right, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam possessed half of the world's wealth, knowledge, water, or beauty. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, he possessed half of the world's what? Wealth, knowledge, water, or beauty.
Water, Javeria. It's water.
What?
Don't mention water because Joy is pretty thirsty right now.
I am.
We're in the last hours of our fast. Everybody's thirsty.
Half hour left.
So once again, the 4 possible answers: wealth, knowledge, water, or beauty. And the correct answer is beauty. The Prophet Yusuf Islam was extremely, extremely handsome, and again, that plays a huge part in his story and how the Aziza Misr, she tried to have Yusuf Islam commit a sin. Let's see our scoreboard. Let's see how people are doing right now. Our scoreboard is all the way on top. Juwaria, nice. Juwaria all the way on top. Fabi, I'm guessing you're Dudwala. Then we have Fadil.
How are you gonna miss me like that?
Abdurrahman, and Fadil, then Maryam. All right, mashallah. Again, so far easy questions, right? So it's not too challenging. Who was Prophet Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam's father? Who was Prophet Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam's father? And in this story, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam is kept away from his father for so long, which is a very tough situation. As a child, that's the last thing you want to do is be away from your parents, especially through your youth, your childhood. But Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, he was away from his father for so many years, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala returns him back to his father. So the question is, What was the name of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam's father? You got full, everybody got it right. Alhamdulillah. The story, we got a couple wrong actually. But the answer is Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam. And Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was a prophet whose father was a prophet, whose father was a prophet, whose father was a prophet. One of the greatest lineages, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam talks about him and his great lineage. All right, let's carry on. Next one. How many names does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have? How many names or how many attributes, sifat, characteristics does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have? This is where you remember Zain Bika. Everybody's trying to sing the Zain Bika, the Hamza Yusuf names of Allah. Kamaluddin.
How does it go, Chachu?
There are 101 names of Allah.
The correct answer is 99. There are 99 names of Allah. Right? And then these are the beautiful qualities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's Ar-Rahman, He's Ar-Rahim, He's the most merciful, He's ever merciful. He's the one who sees all things, He's the one who hears everything. He takes care of us, He gives us food, so many different qualities, so many different beautiful characteristics that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 8. How many daily prayers did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala originally ordain upon the Muslims, upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? How many daily prayers did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala originally ordain upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So you have 5, 25, 18, and 50. The unique thing is that we have 5 prayers now, and it at times feels like such a burden, because we think to ourselves, we're so busy in this, we're busy in that, whether it's home, whether it's family, whether it's school, work. But originally there were 50 prayers. Imagine if we still had to pray 50 times a day while fasting, while at home, because of COVID-19. It would have been crazy. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us, whoever prays 5, they get the reward of the 50. Right? Huge. And then imagine that in the month of Ramadan, where everything's like multiplied by 70. The math just like blows your mind. 50, 5 times 10, 50 times 70, and the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the ni'mats of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are countless. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question number 9. What was the name of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's first wife? The name of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's first wife: Aisha, Kulsum, Maryam, or Khadija? We talked about this before how Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he got married at the age of 25. It was the first question that was mixed up because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was married to her at the age of 25. So it's a bit, how old was she, without giving a name, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam got married to her?
She was 40.
She was 40.
Big gap.
In our Sirah class, we talked about how she proposed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and her name was Khadija. So if you look at this 4 names, we have Aisha Dana, who marries with Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Kulsum was the daughter of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Maryam alayhi salatu wasallam was the mother of Isa alayhi salam, and then we have Khadija. All right, let's move on to our next question. Actually, how's our leaderboard going? Oh, we got Kaiko Ray coming in. I'm trying to think who that could be. I remember Mushtaba from Chicago used to use that for his.
That was his Facebook name.
That was a long time ago. Yes. All right. Our next question, number 10. What was the name of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's babysitter / wet nurse as a child? The lady who nursed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the early years of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's life. Right. Kulsuma, Zalika, Hannah, or Halima. Who was a wet nurse of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he spent how many years? Joya, how many years did he spend with her?
6.
No.
Oh,
Salsabil?
wait, 4.
4, yes. 2 years, and then again, she came back and said, "You want 2 more years?" And then the correct answer, everybody got it right because the other names were kind of whack. Is Halima to Sa'diya. She was from the clan of Banu Sa'd, and when the Prophet ﷺ went to her, everything about her changed. And this tells us that if we were to bring the Prophet ﷺ into our lives, everything about our lives would change as well. She had it difficult, but then when the Prophet ﷺ came, everything became easy for her. So this encourages us to bring the Sunnah and bring the love of the Prophet ﷺ into our lives. Let's go on to the next question. Well, what was the name of the Prophet ﷺ's father? Baba, you want to ask your son? What was the name of the Prophet ﷺ's father? The three answers that we have is Abdullah, Abdurrahman, and Abu Talib. Now, the Prophet ﷺ, one hadith, he says that Khairul Asma, the best of names, right? The best of names are Abdullah and Abdurrahman. So he says the best of all names from the male names are Abdullah and Abdurrahman. So these are two of the options that we have here. Which was the name of the Prophet ﷺ's father? And the correct answer is Abdullah. Abu Talib was uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, and Abdurrahman, there were companions by name Abdurrahman, but Abdullah was the correct name of the Prophet ﷺ. Juwaya, do you remember when Abdullah passed away?
Before the Prophet was born.
Before the Prophet ﷺ was even born. And this shows what a difficult life the Prophet ﷺ was just born into, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches the Prophet ﷺ to be dependent on Allah. And that's the same way that we should be dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, our family members are there, we should love and trust, but then our dependent, we should really be connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with our heart and our actions. Our next question. Question number 12. Which prophet had a dream of 11 stars, the sun and the moon bowing down to him? So one of these prophets had a dream. Was the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him, or Adam alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, or Yusuf alayhi salam? Which of the prophets had a dream of 11 stars, the sun and the moon bowing down for him? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this in the Quran. Inni ra'a. Do we finish ayah?
Oh, إني رأى كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم.
Ahada ashara qamar. Come on, man. You make me look bad. All right, the correct answer is Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam had this dream of his 11 brothers, the sun and the moon, his father and mother, bowing down to him. And later on, many years later, this dream becomes true, that they all rejoice as one later on. Our next question number 13. This one might be a little bit difficult. Well, what prophet was Musa alayhi salatu wasalam's father-in-law? So Musa alayhi salatu wasalam's father-in-law was a prophet as well. What was his name? Our first option is Ayyub alayhi salatu wasalam. Second option, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. And third option, Suhaib alayhi salatu wasalam. So again, we have some people that just joined into the Zoom. If you go to kahoot.it, plug in the game pin 4599348, and you can join into our Kahoot. We're on question number 13. What was the name of the Prophet Musa alayhi salatu wasalam's father-in-law? Was it Ayyub, Shuaib, and Ibrahim? When we look at Ayyub alayhi salatu wasalam, we learn about patience. Ayyub alayhi salatu wasalam was very patient. And right now we're during the month of Ramadan, we gotta be really patient. We have 1 second left. If you don't got your final answer in, all right, the correct answer is Shuaib alayhi salatu wasalam. Ooh, people are all over the place on this one. All right, Shuaib alayhi salatu wasalam. Shuaib alayhi salatu wasalam was from a place called Madian, and when Musa alayhi salatu wasalam left his hometown where Fir'aun was, he went to Madian and he spent some time there. He worked for Shuaib alayhi salatu wasalam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the story about the two daughters of Shuaib alayhi salam that were getting water from the well, and Musa alayhi salatu wasalam come and helped them, and then in return he married one of Shuaib alayhi salatu wasalam's daughter. Does anyone know the people of Shoaib alayhi salam? What was their major sin? Right. So
They
different
were
nations.
They were worshiping sticks, but they also would do like mischief with their dealings.
Yes. So different nations have different, crimes. Like for example, Ad and Thamud, they had pride, they were boastful. But Shuaib alayhi salatu wasalam's people, whenever they would buy and sell, they would cheat people. Right? They'll tell you, "Oh, I'm giving you like a pound of meat for 5 dinars," but then when it came time to actually give it, they'll give like half a pound. They would cheat. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this in the Quran. Wailul lil mutaffifin. May those people be cursed who cheat when they buy and sell. Right. So let's move on to our next question. When the Prophet Musa alayhi salatu wasalam parted the sea, what did he strike it with? When Prophet Musa alayhi salatu wasalam parted the sea, what did he strike it with? Our first option is A, his hand. Did he give the sea at the matcha? B, his staff. C, nothing. He made dua and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened it. Was it his hand, the staff, or C, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened it? So if you look at the miracles of the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives different prophet different miracles. For example, he gave the Prophet so the correct answer is B, his staff. And and at different prophets, for example, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made dua and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would make things happen. What was the one dua that everybody around the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw? Where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made dua, he pointed, and then it came apart.
The moon.
The moon.
The moon, yes, the splitting of the moon, right? And they said that the splitting of the moon wasn't just like a little crack, but it was completely, and in between you were able to see a mountain. So the story of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, that Musa alayhi salatu wasalam he stroked the sea with his staff, and it parted into two. Let's go on to our next question. Question number 15. What tribe did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam he himself belong to? We have the tribe of Mecca, the tribe of the Quraysh, or Al-Aswad tribe. What tribe did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam belong to? Julia's like, is it A or B? Possibly C.
I'm trying to figure out what the chat is saying over there.
Yes, I think I'm not sure. All right, the Prophet ﷺ, he belonged to the Quraysh tribe, and within the Quraysh tribe, he was from Banu Hashim. Right? So he was from the clan of Banu Hashim, and this was a very noble tribe, and we understand how they were leaders, and even the grandfather Prophet ﷺ was a leader. They had different responsibilities that they took care of when it came to when it came to Mecca and it came to the Kaaba. All right, our next question. Where is the Prophet ﷺ buried? Very simple, easy question, but it's actually unique. A lot of times people will get this question wrong. So where is the Prophet ﷺ buried right now? Is it in Mecca? Mina? Mina is also known as the tent city, where you'll see so many tents as far as the eye can see. Is it in Arafah? And Arafah is where we will be resurrected towards, or is it in Medina? The correct answer is Medina, Yathrib. The Prophet ﷺ is in Medina, and again, this is where people who go to Hajj or Umrah, they go and visit the Prophet ﷺ there just to visit Rasulullah ﷺ. All right, let's look at our scoreboard. We're on number 17. Okay, wow. Joria, you dropped down to number 2. So Sophia, I don't see you on there.
I was in
Uh,
5th and now I'm in 8th. It's so annoying.
Fabe, are you who's Kaikwe? Is that you, Fabe? All right, mashallah, killing it. Abdurrahman, Maria, you're doing good, alhamdulillah. Fadil's on there. I remember Fadil was there last week as well.
I can't let go of my Chicago roots, man.
Mashallah, mashallah. All right, question number 17. We're almost done. Hey, what is the reward of reciting Surah Ikhlas 3 times? The reward of reciting Surah Ikhlas 3 times is A house in Jannah. B, all of the sins of that day are forgiven. C, a year's sins are washed away. Or D, the reward of reciting the entire Quran. A house in Jannah, the sins of that day are forgiven. The sins of the whole year are washed away. Or reward of reciting the Quran the entire Quran. Again, Surah Ikhlas is, Juria, can you read Surah Ikhlas for us? If you say Inna A'taynaaka the reward is the reward of the whole Quran, right? And of course, in Surah Ikhlas is also known as Surah Ahad, Qul Allahu Ahad, Allahu Samad, Lam Yalid wa Lam Yulad wa Lam Yakul Lahu Kufuwan Ahad. And this surah is about Tawheed, believing the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is one of the 3 core fundamental values of Islam. And that's why you get the reward of 1/3 of the Quran. Now, this doesn't mean that in the month of Ramadan that you're like, I'm just gonna sit here and read Qul Allahu Ahad. I'm not gonna read any of the Quran. I'm just gonna get like packing more reward than anybody else. You want to make sure that you have a connection with the Quran and try to read as much as Quran as you can during the month of Ramadan. Right. So every house, I know Joria does this. Every house should have a competition of how much Quran they're reading. Right. Whether you're Hafiz or not Hafiz, everybody should encourage one another to read as much as Quran as you can. All right, our next question number 18. If you recite Surah Mulk daily, if you recite Surah Mulk daily, what does this protect you from? The jinn, depression, the fire of hell, or punishment of the grave? Reciting Surah Mulk daily, what does it protect you from? Surah Mulk is the first surah in which juz, Salsabil?
Juz Tabarak.
Just
29.
Tabarak, or
Yeah.
also known as 29th juz. And the Prophet ﷺ tells us if you recite this at night, it will protect you from the punishment of the grave. There's only 30 ayats in it, and the answer, of course, is punishment of the grave. And then the story of Usman whenever he would pass by a grave, he would always cry. And he'll say, why? Because this is the first stage of the stages of the hereafter. If this goes well, if you can find protection here, then the rest is going to go well. But if this goes bad, then the rest will go bad, which shows the importance of reciting Surah Mulk at night. If you listen to it, make sure you do so. That way you have a peaceful life in the grave. The Prophet ﷺ tells us that a person's life in the grave, either your grave will expand as far as the eye can see, and a window will be opening into Jannah, and the breeze of Jannah will come into your grave, or your grave will collapse until that your ribs are, and he took his hand and put it together like this, your ribs interlock like that. Let's move on with our next question. Question number 19. We're almost done. Right. What is the virtue of reciting Ayatul Kursi before going to bed? Ayatul Kursi before going to bed takes away hunger. You're protected from harm until sunrise. It gives you strength. Ayatul Kursi, and this is probably Ayatul Kursi is the best ayah from the Quran. Again, if you do not know it, you definitely want to learn Ayatul Kursi. It's in the 3rd juz. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. It talks about the power, the strength, the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not sleep. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala watches over us. Everything's in his hand, and you are protected from harm till sunrise. So if you read Ayatul Kursi at night, you are protected from harm until sunrise. Question number 20. Name the longest surah in the Quran. While you name it, inshallah, Juwair is going to read it for us. Juwair, please read the surah for us.
إنا أعطيناك الكوثر.
Okay, that did not work. The longest surah in the Quran, which spans over 2.5 juz, right? 2.5 juz, juz number 1, juz number 2, and a part of juz number 3, is which surah? So our three options are Surah Yasin, Surah Mulk, which it can't be because I just said it was 30 ayats, Surah Al Imran, or C, Surah Baqarah. Which surah is the longest? And the answer, of course, is Surah Baqarah, which Juwaria will read for us some other time. Let's move on to question 21. In how many days did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create the heavens and the earth? And the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us this so that we can understand, to match similarity to the way that we work in the dunya. The reality is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can say kun fayakun, be, and it will be. What did he create it in 7 days, 11 days, 3 days, or 6 days? How many days did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create the heaven and the earth? But once again, all he had to say is kun fayakun, it would be. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran that he created the heavens and earth in how many days? And the correct answer is 7 days. 7 days. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he talks about this in the Quran. ثُمَّ اسْتَوَىٰ عَلَى الْعَرْشِ, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sat on his throne. And the Arsh and Kursi, again, are two different things. And inshallah, we'll talk about it some other day. Our next question. Why did Shaitan not bow down to Adam alayhi salam when he was asked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why did Shaitan, Iblis, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to bow down in front of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, what prevented him? So why did Iblis not bow down to Adam alayhi salatu wasalam? Because Shaitan was scared, because Shaitan was unable to. Due to pride, Shaitan perceived himself to be greater than Adam wasalam, and we all know the answer is, of course, because of pride, right? And pride was one of the first sins to be committed, and this kind of reminds us that to humble ourselves. Don't bring the quality of Shaitan within yourself, but humble yourself. Always remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is greater than us, and this is a quality Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves when a person is humble and a person understands his place. But the reason why Shaitan didn't, Shaitan was, I'm made out of fire and fire goes up. He's made out of clay, clay goes down. Why should I bow down in front of him? Our next question. Question number 23. Name the shortest surah in the Quran. Right? No one needs to read the surah. Name the shortest surah in the Quran. Surah Ikhlas, Surah Ikhlas, Surah Kawthar, Surah Nas. Again, this is one of the favorite surahs of everybody. While you're reading Taraweeh at home, I think a lot of people read this surah 20 times in Taraweeh every night. Because it is the shortest surah. That way you can get back to stuffing your mouth with biryani and samosas.
40 times.
40 times?
Yeah, because first rakat, second rakat, both in nothing. Abdullah reads it 3 times in 2 rakat.
3 times in 2 rakat. If you're reading the first rakat and second rakat, you still have 20 rakats.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, the thing is that his mom tells him to read longer surah, so he just read nothing twice.
All right. So the correct answer is Surah Kawthar. Inna Atayna Kawthar. A very beautiful surah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the blessings that Allah has given the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our next question. We're on question number 24. What surah was revealed first to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Now, this surah is not the first in the Quran, but it was the first one to be revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And how many ayats of the surah was revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Anyone know how many ayats? It wasn't the whole surah. How many ayats of the surah was revealed first?
6 or 7.
First 5 ayats.
Oh.
First 5 ayats of the surah were revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in the mountain of the cave of Hira, in the mountain of Nur. right? The very famous story that Jibreel alayhi salatu comes and he hugs the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he says, read. He says, I don't know how to. And the correct answer is Surah Alaq, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. The first Surah Fatiha is, of course, the first surah that's in the Quran, but the first one to be revealed to the Prophet ﷺ is Iqra Surah Alaq. Our last question, question number 25. Linguistically, meaning by vocabulary, what does Sharia mean? Linguistically, by vocabulary, what does Sharia mean? Islamic law, a source of water, the death penalty. So the word Sharia, again, a lot of times people throw it around, but linguistically, what does it mean? Sharia, it means, the way that we do wudu, it means the way that we pray our salah, the way that we dress, what's permissible, what's not permissible. So from our four answers, number one, Islamic law. Number two, death penalty. Number three, a water source. What does Sharia mean? This is our last question. Joanna, see, you still got time to go and enjoy iftar.
5 more minutes left.
I know, Salsabil, you had to leave at 6:30. We're a little bit late, but here in Texas, we still have some time left for iftar. So
Yeah, we have an hour and 22 minutes.
on the dot, someone's counting, mashallah. The correct answer is, everybody got it right, of course, is Sharia. Again, very easy. Let's pull up the scoreboard. Let's see who's on top. Julia in third place.
It's because I accidentally pressed the class instead of what's it called? First.
Fadil in second, and Fahaba in first. Mashallah, mashallah. Alhamdulillah, Abdul Rahman. Then we had Dudwala. Again, Jazakallah khair for everybody for joining us. It was fun. Inshallah, just remember, we have this every Saturday, every Friday at 6 o'clock. So please join us. We inshallah will have some new questions, some new people playing with us. Tonight, inshallah, actually after we're done, 7 o'clock, Sheikh Salah will be starting his program. At 8:45, we'll be starting our Quran recitation in our Ramadan challenge, where we talk about one characteristic to bring in, one characteristic to make sure that you don't have, challenging us to change ourselves. Tomorrow we will have a panel discussion. Saturday, again, there's a different program, and we have a lot of programs going on. So make sure that you are in the loop, whether through WhatsApp or to the masjid email. Again, Jazakallah khair for everybody who joined us. Inshallah, again, we'll be
I
next.
just wanted to say real quick, thank you for putting this together. I think this is a great program. I think First Kamani, the staff is doing an amazing job keeping the community engaged during these trying times. So Jazakallah for doing this and putting in the effort. I know it takes a lot of time and effort on the background to bring these things forward. So appreciate it.
Alhamdulillah, I think for us, I think just bring a little fun into times where we're at home, and at the same time learning Islamically, it's good for everybody. So again, Jazakallah khair, Fahabay, Jazakallah Sabil, Joria, and everybody. Again, our to Sister Sahrish, who puts together our Kahoot, to Sister Samia, who read our hadith about how the Prophet ﷺ would help out when he would be at home. Again, stay tuned to our Facebook. At 7 o'clock, Sheikh Salah will start his program, and then at 8:45 we'll start our Quran recitation. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Again, just as a reminder, please be sure to spend the final moments of your fast in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make dua to Allah, read some Quran, and utilize your time during this month of Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.